Hello, I'm John Cadillac Seville. Thank you for watching GCTV. We have three very, very special people to my left-hand side here. But I'm going to let Sean Canera get things going tonight. And Sean and I worked on many events over the years. One of the most active people in the community, Heart of Gold. And it's good to see you again, Sean. So welcome.
Good to see you again, John. Thanks for coming out and helping us with this production. At the Guilford Community Fund, we try really hard to support different agencies in town that help others in town that need help in a variety of different ways.
We got some work to do. We got to make $140,000. We got that little thermometer on the Guilford Green there, and it's got to go up.
That's right. We're just starting our annual appeal, trying to collect as much money as we can. Like you said, we'd hope for 140. That's about what we've been able to give back to the community for the last 6-7 years now. So we're hoping for that again. And one of the things we want to do tonight is to not only support our agencies with financial funds, but also give them a chance to reach out to the community and tell all the folks out there what they do in town, how they help other people in town, and the services that they provide. And that's kind of why we have this group here. We've got the Cove here with us. Center for
Just had run for the Cove, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my DJs does that every year.
Oh,
Does all the music for that. He loves it. One of his favorite events for that too. But again, when people are watching right now, we've had so many different agencies on here. It just might really connect with somebody. Like, oh my God, they're doing exactly what I really care about, and that's what we're going to have today with Mary and Carol too.
That's right. So we'd like to give you this opportunity to speak out just a little bit about what you do for the people of Guilford.
So Mary, why don't you start, introduce yourself to our viewers out there, let them know who you are and a little bit about you.
Well, hi, I'm Mary Anderson, the Executive Director of the Cove Center for Grieving Children. We are a statewide agency, but we have a family program in Guilford with our Guilford Family Site. And the Guilford Community Fund has helped us for many years by supporting us financially so that we're able to help children who are grieving the death of a significant person in their life. We have a 20-week program that starts in the fall and runs through June. It's free to any grieving child ages 4 to 18 in the state of, in the region around Guilford. We serve a lot of Guilford residents as well as surrounding towns within our site there. So we've been around for 21 years, and Guilford was our first site. We now have 7 sites in the state, but Guilford is kind of the start of our program. And it's a very powerful program. It is therapeutic, but not therapy. So it's a peer support group for children who are grieving the death of a loved one. And we use about 70% arts activities to help children communicate their feelings and help them to avoid the devastating effects of unresolved grief, which can cause major problems as adults, drug addiction, low academic performance, things of that nature. So we really help to improve family communication, to help parents. We educate parents and caregivers on how to help their children through a very difficult time, which if you live on this planet, you probably are going to experience the death of a loved one at some point, and we help to normalize that experience. We have wonderful volunteer facilitators like Carol Zebb here, who has been with the Guilford Cove 17 years now.
Wow. Yeah.
Actually, being the original site, it's been a powerful influence in the families that we have served. Our facilitators who are trained have been keep coming back because they see the wonderful effects and the improvement in the children's ability to cope with the circumstances that have come their way because of the death of a loved one, whether it's a parent or a sibling. And when you look at our numbers of facilitators that continue to stay, we total individually, if you total all of our years together since starting, we are over 100 years of experience of service to these families in Guilford.
So they know they're getting the best care because you're running a whole gamut of emotions.
Oh, absolutely.
With that. I remember being in high school at one point, my best friend, my first experience with that, you know, we were freshmen in high school, and my best friend had died in a car accident. You know, and I think there was some, you know, substance abuse involved with that, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, he had called me up that night to go out that night, but I was singing in church at the time, ironically enough, and didn't go out that night in the car where they were in, that he had passed away. So I felt like, but what I went through that time, the myriad of emotions, and thank goodness for folks like what you do there. I mean, I had a strong, you know, parental support group, my mom and dad, but not everybody has that.
That's
Well-
exactly what the Cove is about, but it's actually a peer support design. So it's children and helping children, teens helping teens, as well as educating parents. So the children are more comfortable in that environment. Plus, they're doing processing activities that help them to understand their grief on a very deep level and to normalize the experience. You know, we don't pathologize the death experience. We don't use a lot of euphemisms for death. We help young children understand death on a very elemental level that's appropriate for their age level.
You said a couple things that really intrigued me too, and they got my attention when you said it's therapeutic, not therapy. That caught my attention. Can you kind of and also normalize the experience?
Right. Well, we use volunteer facilitators that work with the children. We have a licensed clinical social worker who is the site director, and he or she, it's she at this point, educates the parents. There's a parent group that meets separately where the children are in breakout groups with children of their own age level. So we have elementary, middle, and high school usually in most of our sites, and they're doing the same theme for the evening, but at a different level, and finding ways to express their feelings in a safe, comfortable environment. That's really what it's about. It's providing a safe space for kids to talk about. They're not being talked at, they're being facilitated.
Right.
So it's coming out of the children rather than being put into them.
And I like the peer group aspect, and I like the fact they're not being talked at. You know.
Right.
Sorry to
Exactly.
interrupt you, Sean. Go right ahead.
Do you do more of it like in your facility or in their homes?
No, it's all at, we have 7 satellite sites that are provided free of charge by communities to the Cove. So we keep our overhead down, and because the program meets twice a month, we are able to follow the school year, but also have an even schedule for families that they're able to access it on the weekends. The Guilford
Right.
Cove
Okay.
meets on the weekends. So.
Now, Mary and
Okay.
Carol, what made you decide to get involved with something like this? Is
Well,
there something personal that
Actually,
happened
yes,
without being
actually.
too invasive?
No, I don't
Okay.
mind that at all.
Okay.
In fact, thank you for asking. One of the things that interested me was the fact my father had just died, and he had experienced the loss of his father when he was 7 years old. He was the oldest of 3 boys, and that was a heavy burden on his family, his mother, and I saw how it affected his entire life. In fact, I remember him because it was during the time of the influenza epidemic in the United States where a lot of people were dying. Because of his age, he wasn't permitted to go to the burial of his father.
Yeah.
And I remember going with him when I was 10 years old to see the grave of his father. And that was a remarkable experience for me too, because I realized how it affected his well-being and how he was very sensitive to still trying to process that horrible event that happened to him at such a tender age.
He wasn't allowed to experience the full emotions and get
Correct.
the closure.
And that's
That was
what
necessary.
this program helps do, because a child, regardless of their age, and I deal basically with the youngest groups of aged children, they know their life will never be the same as it was before the death of that loved one. And so consequently, they feel the greatest emotion of, besides the grief, is the isolation from other children their own age. And once they come to the Cove, they realize they have met children that have had the same kind of tragic experience, and they're more free and open to be able to discuss with facilitators and children of their own age group some of the things that they might even say to their remaining parent, who is already, they recognize, as grieving and trying to cope
Themselves, right?
and so that this affords them an outlet to be able to release those feelings and those strong emotions. And there are a whole range of emotions besides grief that we deal with, and they have to cope with. So the kind of activities that we end up doing helps facilitate the opening up of those feelings, and to be able to know it's okay, you're going to get through this. And the year, usually we do see results during the year in their attitudes, and they see hope instead of despair.
And you give them all these coping mechanisms, which is great.
Absolutely.
And so now if people want to contribute and help, is there any kind of a website they can go to?
We have a
Our viewers?
website, www.covect.org. We also have a lot of resources on our website. If there is a death in your family, or you have a friend who is experiencing the death of a loved one, we have a lot of reading materials, a lot of frequently asked questions. How do you cope with a young child dealing with a funeral, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of answers if you're looking at a difficult time, actually, on our website. We also have Camp Erin, Connecticut, which is a free bereavement camp every June. And that's free also for children ages 6 to 18 years of age.
Well, I tell you, Mary and Carol,
grieving.
thanks for all
Yeah.
you do. I mean, it's just nice to
Okay.
know there's a safe haven for these, these kids to go to and get that, the mechanisms they need. We really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for
Sean?
allowing us
Yep.
to speak about it. And thank you, Sean, and everyone at the Community Fund for supporting our program. It is truly appreciated.
Well, we're really good to do it. We appreciate you guys for the
And-
work that you do.
And we also appreciate the strong support this community has given the Cove. We know how much they care and how much they know about our community efforts to help the families in this area. And we can see it in all other events that we have, the participation that we see coming from Guilford. So we truly appreciate what this town has done for us.
Well, it's selfless people like you that make this all worthwhile. Giving out to giving. Thank you so much, Carol and Mary,
Thank
for what
you.
you do. And
Thank
Sean,
you.
on behalf of Sean, I'm John Cadillac Seville. Thank you for watching Guilford Cable TV. Good night.